Welcome to the Take Two with Tonia podcast with your host, Tonia Myers. This is a space for women 50 years and older to create the life we have always wanted and dreamed of. On this podcast, expect to have your mind expanded, your spirits uplifted, and your soul encouraged. We will explore the self-development journey of others and pull from it the gems needed for our own self-transformation. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Take Two with Tonia. Today, we have a wonderful, wonderful guest on our show. We are going to talk about all things mompreneur. And all of us, most of us, you are either a great mom or you are the greatest auntie on earth or anything like that. And that's what we're talking about today. All things mompreneur. And I have my guest today who is the owner of the Mompreneur Success Academy. Mm-hmm. And she's going to tell us more about that, but it is none other than the beautiful Denise Fernander.
Thank you.
How are you?
I love that. Can you do that every morning when I rise?
I know, right? I'm gonna send it to you in a voicemail message so you can just listen to it.
I thank you.
Or tell Alexa, read my messages.
Yes. I love that. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. So glad to be here.
Thank you. So I appreciate you being here, and I cannot wait for you to share your story with my listening audience and let them know what it is to be a successful mompreneur and how you can help them get there. Because I know a lot of moms that are out here in these streets trying to be great, and we all think that, oh God, I'm terrible at this. I probably I need help. Plus, we want to have the lifestyle where we can take care of the kids. Plus, we have our own, it's always the freedom, the time freedom that we want. And as a mompreneur, that helps us because we look at Sarah Blakely and
yes,
she is what #goals.
Absolutely.
#goals. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to my audience and tell us a little bit more about Mompreneur Success Academy.
Well, hello. Thank you again for having me. I'm Denise Fernander. Mm-hmm. I am a business coach and strategist, a podcaster, and I am founder of Mompreneur Success Academy. I help mom entrepreneurs who are coaches or health practitioners with getting past that overwhelm and that frustration of starting a new business.
Okay.
And getting to clear messaging, creating a marketing plan, basically, and then implement and proven marketing strategies to actually get to success and to make profits in their business. And just really to move forward, like you said, that time freedom and moving towards financial freedom as well.
Right.
So, yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Everybody wants that time freedom and success, and we all want those coins. We want those coins. So we have to have somebody. And guys, let me just tell y'all, to get a coach is so needed. So if you're listening and this is your first time into this whole arena in life, because my target audience is the people who are in the second phase of their life, and we are women of a certain age, kind of mature, and we probably grew up with get a job, get your education, get a job, and then retire from that job. And as we all know, the world has changed. Denise can help us. She can help us be great out here in these business streets and learning how to be a mompreneur. So having said that, how did you pivot into this? What did you do formally, and how did you pivot into becoming a business coach?
Well, it's so funny in hindsight. So both of my parents, even though they had full-time jobs, they too were also entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So I grew up with my mom. My dad was an airline pilot. And when he retired, he started his own company for a minute. But he had a restaurant. My mom used to cook and take lunches and sell lunches on the side, and had a little convenience store down the street. So I grew up with that, and her mother before her, my mom was from a family of 12. So it was barter back in those days. Right. It was like, I'm gonna bake some goods and I'm gonna be able to exchange that for this and so forth and so on.
Okay.
So I kind of grew up with that kind of mentality. They own real estate, so things like that. My first career, when I went to college, I studied music. I was in the music business. Okay. And so I was a singer, songwriter, musician. So, hey, I definitely started out as an entrepreneur in that sense as well. I transitioned. When I got married and started my family, I have a son. He's 19 now.
Oh,
but
wow.
Ooh, yes.
Look, mine are 9 and 11.
God bless. Godspeed. It's coming. It's coming. It's a beautiful thing. It's coming. Okay. But I transitioned into education because I found that I really have always loved education. And at that time, I kind of had moved to a different place. At the time, I lived in Ringo, Georgia. Okay. Not a lot musically going on there. So
Ringo? I've never heard of that.
It is, well, actually, it is where Dolly Parton, most people know it because of Dolly Parton getting married there.
Okay. All
and then in 2011, was it? The tornadoes. It was that little small city where like the tornado hit us and pretty much the whole elementary school was gone. But anyway, nonetheless, it's just outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Okay. It's kind of like where Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia meet.
Okay. All right.
But so I basically had to transition. So I've been through a couple of transitions, let's say that.
We all do.
And I became an educator.
Okay.
So I worked in education for a very, 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 well, over 20 years, let's say that. Okay. And how I ended up here was I'd been teaching. I taught middle grades, math and science, gifted, all of that good stuff, loved it. But I just really found that I was a lot of stressed out.
Okay, right.
Got there early, left late, gave my weekends, gave my evenings, gave my holidays, all of that.
Right.
And I've had somebody come to me and said, she is a mompreneur. Okay. And she owned her own business, but she had 2 sons who had health challenges. And she said, you know what, and this was pre-COVID. She was like, I need to transition to where I don't have to leave my kids, but I can still be able to make a living. Right. And so she said, look, I'd like to start a course. Okay. And she said, can you help me? And I was like, okay, we can do this. Yeah, sure. Why not? And we started and we got into it. And I promise you, and at that time, I was also thinking about transitioning into something else. I had relocated. Now I was living in Atlanta. So definitely different opportunities and different access to things. So we started it. And as we started it and I learned and I grew and everything, we got to a point where it was like, okay, I can't do both. I can't do this teaching thing and keep these hours and do this because I have to sleep at some point. And so I decided I was going to jump, and I jumped. I resigned in 2019. Okay. We launched her course. In her first 90 days, she made over 24,000. And 10 months and 15 days, she made 6 figures.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So of course that propelled me and said, okay, of course, I need to go ahead and not do this job over here anymore and do something bigger. And it had been in my spirit for some time. Even when I first moved to Atlanta, it had been in my spirit, you need to go do this. You need to, but I did what I know. I know how to get a job.
Oh my God.
I know how to get a job as a teacher.
Yes.
I do, I didn't know how to get off the train.
Right.
So that's a paycheck once a month. I know how that works. I know how to schedule all my payments.
Right.
But to figure out how I'm going to make these payments get paid.
Right.
And that train ain't coming. That money train, So anyway, so that's the long version.
Awesome. I like that. You're right. That whole, I jumped and built my parachute as I was going down. You ever read that book? Amen. Build it out while you jump or something like that. I forget the name of the book, but that's what a lot of us are doing. A lot of us do. And COVID even forced a lot of people to just jump. Yeah. And unfortunately, people didn't know how to build a parachute. So we're here to bridge that gap so that they can build their parachute since they've had to jump. Yes. So as the mom, let's talk, what does, so your academy, is there like a group coaching type course thing, or tell me a little bit more about your academy and what that
Yes.
entails?
So I do group coaching. And again, it's really focused on getting right in. It's the stuff that I didn't even know when I first got into it. So it's about getting clear about your messaging, getting to the point of knowing who is my audience, and really being in a place of being able to hone in on them. Where do they shop? What do they want? What's valuable to them that I have?
Right.
What skill set or talent do I have that I can bring to them that they need, basically?
Right.
And then figuring out, okay, how do I get in front of them? And then what's the do? What do I need to do to get there? So yeah, it is group coaching. It's set up where, there are other things, supports that are in there. So we deal with so much more than just those 3 topics, for sure.
Okay.
Mindset and all kinds of different things.
Right.
And then additionally, I just started also a podcast, and it's really about inspiring and motivating and encouraging them, because there's a piece to that where when the going gets tough, we need you to stick in there. We need you to stay in there and not go anywhere. It takes a minute. I'm grateful to say that I was able to replace my teaching salary in the first year of business.
Right.
But that's not something, and that's the thing I can honestly say. One thing in my first year that I realized is that, I switched and transitioned, and I got the financial freedom. Right. But what I found was that time freedom, it was like a lot of people have that perception that as an entrepreneur, you're going to be working every single day. And very often that's what we do. We get in there, we feel like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I can't take off weekends. Oh, well, I got to stay up till whatever time. Right. So just really helping people through all of those different steps, because it is a learning curve for sure.
For some of the entrepreneurs, the things you were saying, I've heard people call that as front loading, right? You do all of this work and all those hours in the front. There is a lot of work or a lot of things that you do have to do up front to set it up so that on the back end, you can, coast and not have to put so much into it. Because, you start getting the systems in place.
But see, what about if you started those systems from the beginning? Because a lot of them are automated. So if you learn that from somebody else from the beginning, you can start out to where you got that time freedom.
I know. Look, I'm gonna have to take your course too.
If I knew then what I know now, it's like, yeah, automate right from the start. Why not? Like,
and would you say that that's one of the things? Like, what is one of the things that you know now that you wish you knew then? Is this one of them that you're talking about?
Definitely automate. There are so many systems, and it's the timing, the things that exist for us now, to where you can set up email campaigns that when somebody does this happens, and just automations. It's a beautiful thing. If you go and set those up now, you don't have to deal with them later on.
So does your academy walk you through how to do that, how to even decide what systems that they have?
Definitely in tools and resources. So that's one of the things that we go through and we talk about. So knowing about what's out there. So it may not be the actual walking through. Now I do some talking about walking through standard operating procedures, setting those up from the beginning too. How does this happen? If I am doing this, what do I do to get it started? So that I don't necessarily always have to be the one who's doing it, but I don't have to train that person constantly. Right. Literally recording that. So getting on a Loom or even on a Zoom, record the steps that you take, to record the screen, so that if somebody else had to come in and do that, it can be done without you spending that time to teach somebody to do it. So we don't necessarily go. I do have like videos and things that can give people instructions, but a lot of stuff is out there on the internet. I'm just not playing. Like my son, when I ask him tech questions, he's my techie, and he's like, "Google it, Mom. Google it."
That sounds like you,
Mom. And I'm like, really? No, but that's why you here. Come on, man.
Right.
But no, a lot of, if it's something that's not out there,
Mhm.
absolutely, we're gonna walk you through it. But
Okay.
a lot of it, it's right there, and it'll
Mhm.
even give you the directions. So really, we help with the tools and access to the resources. So
Okay.
letting you know about what programs exist, giving you tips on which ones may be better suited for you, or
Mhm.
just really giving you the information. Because a lot of it is information. Knowledge is king or
King,
queen. Let's go there.
right?
You
And like
know,
you said, it's so accessible now, so accessible until you can totally just binge,
right.
look,
Oh,
binge
you spend
Google,
hours.
binge YouTube.
Hours. That could take away your time too.
Yes, it can be a time suck and have you just sitting around, you'd be like, oh Lord, I lost all the time in the world. So yeah.
Right.
Good. So that's one of the things that we do, or that the Success Academy does. And I love that, because we all need that. Even the people who are already in, we can always benefit from things like that, right?
Oh yeah.
What
Yeah.
are some of the things that you had to like unlearn uh from the prior Denise to this Denise?
I would say definitely that mindset of I got to Hmm. So there was a point where self-care,
Mm-hmm.
like I really had to switch that up a notch,
Okay.
because I did have that mentality of I have to do this and this has to get done. I'm going to work all day. I ain't going to put time aside for this. I'm not putting time aside for that. Like it
Mm-hmm.
really, and I was so passionate about it that,
Of course.
that's all my head was thinking. It was like the blinders. That's all I saw. So really I had to, um, and then as a teacher, even though, I was mandatory, like I had to cook dinner at a certain time, or
Right.
I had to be certain places at a certain time. But other than that, I was still digging into, well, this needs to be done, or well, that needs to be done. So like a lot of the time, I would say that my biggest thing was reprogramming myself to understanding that my time is so valuable, that
Yes.
I also need to make sure that I make time for myself.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Because I've had to
Yeah.
do that this year.
Yes. And that's been a huge thing. Self-care is
Mhm.
a huge part of the program as well,
Okay.
because a lot of times the person who suffers the most is us. We give all our time to others. We give our time to our business. But when are we making sure that we're taking time for ourselves and
Exactly.
doing the things that we need to do for us?
Exactly. Good. So what is some advice that you would give to uh 18-year-old Denise now?
Mm,
Because we came up, like you said, you were around entrepreneurship all your life, right? And
yeah.
then you've had 18-year-old versus today Denise. What would you tell her?
Mm, that's a great question. Uh,
Like, what is some of the stuff you tell your son?
I know.
Mhm.
Well, okay, but thinking about me specifically,
Yes.
I would say courage.
Okay.
I think that like you said, I was also trained in the go get a college degree, go get a job, don't do, that I wasn't really encouraged. My parents, like I said, they had full-time jobs,
Right.
even though they had all the side stuff.
Right.
So it's like, don't leave a good job. Like, why you leaving?
Right.
Like when I was leaving my teaching job, literally, like there was people who was like, you doing what?
Right.
But how you gonna pay your bills? Like, what
Uh-huh.
you mean? So I would say to be encouraged and stay the course.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so my biggest thing is to be encouraged and stay the course. Be creative
Yes.
in you know, oh, this is what I tell my son, and this is what I would have told myself.
Uh-huh.
So my son, he might say things like, well, mom, I don't have money for that. And I'll say to him, the question that you need to ask is, what resources do I have access to get me blah, 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 or such and
Right.
such?
Right. Other than
And
my
I think
purse.
that's it.
I know.
And it's
Uh-huh.
like flipping it. It's a
Yeah,
mindset thing
it
like
is.
that. And that's hard for some people because they're so busy thinking about, oh, well, I can't afford that, or, oh, I can't do that. Well, how am I do that? And I got to do this. The question is not that. The question is, how can I do it given this?
Right.
So that's the biggest thing. I think that is really being resourceful in that way and flipping the mindset to how can I make it happen, as opposed to, because if you just keep staring at what can't happen, you're right. It ain't, I always tell them, if you keep on saying can't, you're right. You can't.
Right.
But if you think about how can I, that's a different question.
I think that is a great place to put a pin in, because we definitely need to learn to reframe the how can I from the I can'ts. And we were taught traditionally the why I can't do stuff, right? Why I can't, because I need to get a job, because I need to do this, because I need to do that, very regimented. And now creativity is key to success, to survival even.
Yes.
So now we have to think outside the box with how can I? And I went to, I think it was in 2015, I went to a conference, and that is what the woman said. She even said, just ask God, where, like, you want $1,000, right? God, where's my $1,000? That was, she said, ask him that every day, all day. You can say, God, where's my $1,000? And he will begin to show you ways in which you can get your $1,000, or get whatever it is you think that And so now I haven't started doing that, or from that day forward, I started doing that. So you are so right and so on point. And I encourage my audience to ask God, where is my, or how can I make something happen, because that is totally the key. And also, and I'm just going to do a plug here. Sounds like to me, if you need to know how to do some stuff, Denise Fernander and the Mompreneur Success Academy might be able to help you. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying. She sounds like to me, she know what she's talking about. So, I'm going to say that in order to, let's do this. You tell the people how they can get in touch with you. Let's do that. And it'll be in the show notes as well, but she's going to go ahead and tell us right now for future reference.
Awesome. So on Instagram, where I'm primarily, you will see me at Mompreneur Success Academy. You can also look at Mompreneur Success Podcast. Okay. Check out some of those episodes. There's also a Facebook group, and that's open to anybody. And I throw a lot of videos and gems in there just to help. A lot of value, just help just in general, because some of these things are just like basic things that we don't always think of, especially when we're in a new space. I'm also on LinkedIn under my name, Denise Fernander. That's Fernander. Okay. But those are the places to find me the best. Also on YouTube, there's Mompreneur Success Podcast as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Denise. Thank you so much. I love the story, and you and I'll have to talk more offline, because I might need some of your services. Just because, guys, like I said, a coach is always in order. And when I'm trying to build my network, or you're trying to build your network, make sure that you get you a coach, get you a mentor.
I regularly go and have coaching.
Exactly. Coaches for whatever that thing is. I told my brother the other day, I was like, I think I need a brand story coach. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, because I need to get that. I said, I need to get that brand story streamlined and all that kind of stuff. And he didn't understand at first, but by the time we finished talking, he got it. So he was like, oh, okay, I see what you're saying, because sometimes we cannot do it all alone. You need help along the way. Everybody needs a mentor. So anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Take Two with Tonia. Thank you, Denise. This has been awesome. Guys, look at her, go to her IG page, Mompreneur Success Academy. Because I keep wanting to say mommy, but it's Mompreneur Success Academy. Go to her IG page, her Facebook page, her LinkedIn. Website. Denise Fernander. Look her up. Support. Like, share, and comment on this podcast. And we will thank you all for listening in and tuning in. We'll Take Two with Tonia, and we'll see you guys next week. Well, that's it for today's episode of Take Two with Tonia. Thank you for joining us. Please be sure to like, share, and comment on whatever platform you happen to be listening to. Remember, if you share, tag me at Take Two with Tonia. I would love to see who all is out there listening. Lastly, remember, you create your own reality and you are 100% responsible for your life. Till next week, I love you all, and this is Tonia with Take Two with Tonia.